the Great Stone Face 1, the ninth chapter in our 8th class English reader Honeydew. I think you watched and enjoyed part 1 of the lesson in the first video. Today, let me introduce you the second part of the lesson, the Great Stone Face 1. At first, let us see the overview of the lesson. Overview of the lesson. In the second part of the Great Stone Face 1, we have the subtopics working with the text, comprehension check, working with language, speaking and writing. Working with the text includes reading comprehension, comprehension check includes assessments, and our working with language, I will cover change of adjectives into their corresponding adverbs and fill in the blanks with the appropriate verb forms. Under speaking, there would be narrating the story, and under writing, we learn writing about an incident that happened in the lesson. Now, let's have a glance at the learning outcomes you achieve at the end of the lesson. Learning outcomes. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to recall the previous story through simple conversation and narration. Narrate the story that was told by Ernest's mother in your own words. Read the text and comprehend it. Identify the adjectives in the given sentences. Form adverbs by adding the suffix ly to their corresponding adjective forms. Fill in the blanks with appropriate adverbial forms. Recall and use appropriate forms of the verbs given in the brackets. Write the experience of gathergold with the given clue words. Rearrange the given sentences and write the story in a meaningful way. Now, before entering into our lesson, let me remind you about the author of our lesson, the Great Stone Face 1, that is Nathaniel Hawthorne. Nathaniel Hawthorne was an American novelist and a short story writer. He was born in the year 1804 and died in 1864. His novel, The Scarlet Letter, is considered a masterpiece of American literature and classic moral study. Now, let's recall the previous part 1 of the Great Stone Face 1 through this conversation between the teacher and the students. Hi children, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, today let us see about the second part of Great Stone Face 1. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Shruti, do you say something about our lesson, the Great Stone Face 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now tell me, who was the little boy in our story?
He was Ernest, ma'am.
Very good. Asha, tell me, where did he live?
In the log cottage in the valley, ma'am.
Nice. With whom did he live?
With his mother, ma'am.
Very good. Ram, can you say what were they talking about?
They were talking about the Great Stone Face, ma'am.
Right. Do you think, does Ernest like the Great Stone Face?
Yes, ma'am. He likes the Great Stone Face very much.
Very good. Now, Sanjya, can you tell me what is stone face?
Yes, ma'am. The stone face is covered by nature.
Excellent. Now, dear children, I think you have remembered the story well. Now, let us recall about the old prophecy that is spread in the valley. Dear children, imagine that you are Ernest. Narrate the story that his mother told him. Begin like this. My mother and I were sitting at the door of our cottage. We were looking at the great stone face. I asked her if she had ever seen anyone who looked like stone face. Then she told me about the old prophecy that was spread in the valley. Dear children, with the help of the given clue words, try to narrate the story as if you are Ernest's mother. Clue words. My dear Ernest, my mother, story, old prophecy, at some future day, a child, born, destined to become the greatest, noblest face, resemblance, great stone face. Dear children, you can easily narrate the story. Now, let us listen to one model narration here.
My dear Ernest, there was an old prophecy in the valley. My mother told me this story when I was younger than you. Dear Ernest, according to the old prophecy, at some future day, a child should be born here who was destined to become the greatest and noblest person of his time, and whose face in manhood should bear an exact resemblance to the great stone face.
Dear children, I think you have recalled the old prophecy that was spread in the valley. Now, let me ask you one more question. Did you remember the man that was mentioned in the story who had resemblance with great stone face? Yes, you are right. The man was gathergold. But Ernest did not find any resemblance of stone face in gathergold. Now, let us see what happened in the next part of the story. Years went on, and Ernest grew to be a young man. Every day, after his work, Ernest still loved to gaze upon the great stone face. The inhabitants of the valley did not know that the great stone face had become a teacher to him, and that the sentiment which was expressed in it would enlarge the young man's heart and fill it with deeper sympathies than other hearts. Now, dear children, observe the meanings of the highlighted words. Inhabitants, people living in the valley. Sympathies mean feelings. Okay? Now, let us see what did people think about Ernest and his actions. The people of the valley did not know that from this would come a better wisdom than could be learnt from books. Their idea was that this was a folly, but pardonable, because Ernest was industrious, kind, and neighborly. Still, in the mind of Ernest, there was the story told by his mother. He beheld the marvelous face looking down the valley and wondered about its human likeness. Now, dear children, observe the highlighted vocabulary. Folly, a foolish act. Industrious, hardworking, skillful. Beheld, saw. Now, let's have a comprehension check at this point. Comprehension with the text. Assessment 1. Who was the young man mentioned in the passage? Yes, you are right. The answer is Ernest. See the next one. Question number 2. What did Ernest love to do at the end of the day's work? Answer. He loved to gaze upon the great stone face. Very good. Dear children, try to answer the next question. Question number 3. What was the folly according to the people of the valley? Yes, you are right. The folly was Ernest gazing upon the stone face after his work. Now, let us go for the Next one. Question number 4. Why was he pardoned by the people of the valley? Answer. Because Ernest was industrious, kind, and neighborly. Dear children, now let us see the next one. Choose the right answer. Question number 5. Ernest learned his wisdom from option A, the great books, option B, the great stone face, option C, his mother. Excellent. The answer is option B, that is, he learned his wisdom from the great stone face. Okay? Now, dear children, let us see what happened next. By this time, poor Mr. Gathergold was dead and buried. His wealth, which was the body and spirit of his existence, had disappeared before his death. Since the melting away of his gold, it had been generally agreed that there was no likeness between the ruined merchant and the majestic face upon the mountain. Then, who was born with features of the great stone face in the valley? Let us see. Before going to that part, let me check your understanding. Comprehension check, page number 125 in the textbook. Write true or false against each of the following statements. 1. Though not very rich, Gathergold was a skillful merchant. Answer. False. Number 2. Gathergold died in poverty and neglect. Answer. It's true. Now, let us move to the next part of the story. Many years before, another son of the valley had become a soldier, and after a great deal of hard fighting, he was now a famous commander. He was known on the battlefield by the name Blood and Thunder. Old and tired now, he had lately expressed a desire to return to his native valley. Everyone in the valley welcomed him, and it was admitted that at last the likeness of the great stone face had actually appeared. There was great excitement in the valley. Now they spent much time in gazing at the stone face for the sake of knowing exactly how General Blood and Thunder looked. Now, dear children, observe the underlined words lately, actually, exactly. They are the adverbs formed by adding suffix ly to their adjective forms late, actual, and exact. I talk about them in the later part. Now, children, let us see how the people of the valley welcomed Blood and Thunder. On the arrival day of Blood and Thunder, a great banquet had been prepared. Soldiers stood on guard, flags waved, and crowd roared with joy. "It's the same face exactly," cried one man dancing for joy. "Wonderfully like it, that's a fact," replied another. "And why not? He's the greatest man of this or any other age, beyond a doubt," cried a third. Now, dear children, observe the underlined word banquet, which means feast. So, the people of the valley welcomed the famous commander Blood and Thunder. As it was being said, at last the likeness of the great stone face had actually appeared. Now, dear children, let us see how did our Ernest feel about it. At last, Ernest could see the general's face, and in the same glance to the side, great stone face. If there was such a likeness as the crowd proclaimed, Ernest could not recognize it. "Fear not, Ernest," said his heart. as if the great stone face was whispering to him, "Fear not, Ernest, he will come." So, Ernest could not find any likeness of stone face in Blood and Thunder. Now, answer the following question given in our textbook under the heading Working with the Text at page number 126. What made people believe General Blood and Thunder was their man? Answer. General Blood and Thunder was another son of the valley who went to become a soldier and rose to the position of a famous commander. Old and tired now, he wanted to return to his valley. The inhabitants, old neighbors, and friends in the valley felt that he bore the likeness of the great stone face. But Ernest could not find any likeness of stone face in Blood and Thunder. Now, dear children, say whether the following statement is true or false. The great stone face seemed to suggest that Ernest should not fear the general. Answer. True. Yes, it is true, as Ernest seemed to hear the whispering voice of great stone face, "Fear not, Ernest, he will come." Okay? Now, dear children, look at the following sentences. Read the following sentences. Raghu is perfect in mathematics. She is very kind towards animals. Shravya is eager to meet her friend. His pleasant behavior attracted me a lot. Now, dear children, observe the highlighted words in the sentences. Perfect, kind, eager, pleasant. In the first sentence, who is perfect in mathematics? Raghu is perfect in mathematics. In the second one, who is kind towards animals? She is kind towards animals. See the third one. Who is eager to meet her friend? Shravya is eager to meet her friend. In the fourth sentence, who has pleasant behavior? He has pleasant behavior. So, here the underlined words are adjectives and they talk about the nouns or pronouns. I think you have understood those underlined words are adjectives. Now, let us go for the next part of the topic, working with the language, that is, changing adjectives into their corresponding adverb forms. Dear children, I think you have observed some underlined words in our story earlier, like lately, actually, and exactly. They are adverbs. By adding the suffix ly, we can change the adjectives into their adverb forms. So, adjectives talk about the nouns and adverbs talk about the verbs. Perfect, perfectly. Near, nearly. Kind, kindly. Pleasant, pleasantly. Eager, eagerly. Now, dear children, let us do the exercise given in our textbook. Working with the language. Exercise number 2. Add ly to each of the following adjectives, then use them to fill in the blanks. Perfect, near, kind, pleasant, eager. Previously, we have seen how to change these adjectives to their adverbs. Perfect, perfectly. Near, nearly. Kind, kindly. Pleasant, pleasantly. Eager, eagerly. Now, let us see the exercise. Number 1. Why didn't you turn up at the meeting? We all were blank waiting for you. Number 2. Blank. Write your name and address in capital letters. Number 3. I was blank surprised to see him at the railway station. I thought he was not coming. Number 4. It is blank believable that I am not responsible for this mess. Number 5. He fell over the step and blank broke his arm. Now try to answer the given blanks. Why didn't you turn up at the meeting? We all were eagerly waiting for you. Number 2. Generally, we say please write your name. So here we can use the adverb kindly. Kindly write your name and address in capital letters. Number 3. I was pleasantly surprised to see him at the railway station. I thought he was not coming. Number 4. It is perfectly believable that I am not responsible for this mess. Number 5. He almost all broke his arm. So we can use the adverb nearly. He fell over the step and nearly broke his arm. Okay? Dear children, I think you have understood the exercise. Now let us go to the next exercise given in our textbook. Working with language. Exercise number 3. Complete each sentence below using the appropriate forms of the verbs in brackets. Number 1. I blank phone you when I blank get home from school. Dear children, try to do this exercise with your previous knowledge. Answer. I will phone you when I get home from school. Okay? Let us see the second sentence. Number 2. Hurry up. Madam blank be annoyed if we blank be late. Yes, you are right. Hurry up. Madam will be annoyed if we are late. In conditional clause, if is used in one part with simple present and in the next part there should be future tense. Right. Dear children, let us go for the next one. Number 3. If it blank rain today, we blank not go to the play. Answer. If it rains today, we shall not go to the play. Right. Now let us do the next one. Number 4. When you blank see Mandal again, you blank not recognize him. He is growing a beard. Answer. When you see Mandal again, you will not recognize him. He is growing a beard. Good. Look at the last one. Number 5. We are off today. We blank write to you after we blank be back. Answer. We are off today. We will write to you after we are back. Very good. Dear children, I think you have understood how to use appropriate verb forms in conditional clauses. Now let us see the writing exercise given in our textbook. Writing exercise. Imagine you are gathergold. Write briefly the incident of your return to the valley. Begin like this. My name is Gathergold. I left the valley of the great stone face 50 years ago. I am now going back home. Will the people of the valley welcome me? Do they know that I am very rich? Develop the paragraph in about 100 words with the help of the following clue words. Then present it in front of your class. Clue words: very rich, my wealth, attract, ask for help, generally greedy, should be careful, I earned with hard work, arrived, spent, end my days, native, valley. Home task. Read the following sentences. Number 1. When the work of the day was over, he would gaze at it for hours. Number 2. An old prophecy is that a man will be born with resemblance to the great stone face. Number 3. But Ernest did not find any resemblance in him with the great stone face. Number 4. Ernest could not recognize stone face in the commander. Number 5. A little boy named Ernest lived in the log cottage in the valley with his mother. Number 6. The great stone face became his teacher. Number 7. People believed that gathergold, a rich merchant, had great resemblance with the great stone face. Number 8. Another son of the valley, the famous blood and thunder, arrived to the valley. Number 9. The crowd proclaimed that the commander had resemblance with the great face. Now arrange the sentences in a sequential order and write the story. End of the Great Stone Face 1. So, in the Great Stone Face 1, we came to know that the young man Ernest did not find any resemblance of Great Stone Face either in the rich merchant gathergold or in the powerful commander blood and thunder. With great disappointment, when he looked at the great stone face, it seemed to say, "Fear not, Ernest, he will come." Now, let us wait for that man who will have resemblance with the great stone face along with the young Ernest. We may know that in the second part. So, dear children, in this video, we have covered working with the text, comprehension check, working with language, speaking and writing. Thank you.